Well, hello, and we're not we're not doing we're not doing Delphi bullshit because anyone with a fucking brain knows what the fuck is going on, and why even pretend at this point? Don't fucking pretend. Don't you fucking weirdos. So we're doing something different. We're doing the Werecat lore because it's time. Been a long time coming. Been a long time coming. So the origin is maybe the thumbnail, which I don't know. I'll try to switch way and try to read this for you. There, a Reddit post by Goliath Prime. There used to be Electric Werecat or werewolf people around Decatur. You know where that is? That's around fucking Fort Wayne. Sometimes they'd make it out to South Bend. Haven't heard anything about them for a long time, though. They used to cause lots of problems with cars and electric transformers back in the day. Big problem if you live in the boonies. Then that big weird thing moved into the coal hollow back in 72, and you stopped hearing about the cat people invasive spirit species, man. Hilarious. But maybe real. So like a different Reddit comment references where this comes from, and it comes from this book. It's called Earth's Secret Inhabitants, and I'm just gonna read the whole fucking chapter. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read the whole chapter. It's a funny chapter name. It's called Chapter 6: Phantom Cats, Monster Birds, and Mystery Kangaroos. We've got a particular focus, but we read the whole thing because that's funny. So we're doing a reading. We're doing a reading. It was a dark night that Friday in 1970 to Mike Busby, who was driving to Olive Branch, Illinois, along a deserted road that runs along the edge of the picturesque Shawnee National Forest. The night must have been particularly eerie. The road on which he was driving was empty of traffic. It was a, it was late at night, and Busby was probably only thinking about how he had to pick up his wife when he arrived in town. He was no doubt relieved when he realized that. Hold on. I'm here. My phone sucks. He was no doubt relieved when he realized that Olive Branch was only about a mile away. It was certainly no time for his engine to start acting up, but that's exactly what was about to happen. The stalled engine would soon be the least of his problems. The car glided to a halt after its engine conked out, and Busby had just gotten out and was reaching for the hood latch when he heard a peculiar noise. The noise was loud enough that it caused him to forget about his car for a moment and look off the side of the road to his left. That's when he saw it. For a split second, he saw two large green glowing eyes glaring at him. Busby hardly had time to think when a moment later, quote unquote, something leaped at him. He couldn't quite see what had jumped what had jumped him, but could clearly feel two large padded feet bash into his face. He was thrown to the ground, and the beast, or whatever it was soon right on top of him. Hmm. 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 They missed an eye. They missed an eye. These editors. Fuck these editors. It was extremely dark outside, so Busby still couldn't see what had leaped at him. But as he lay sprawled on the ground helplessly, the creature ripped his shirt to shreds, dug his claws into his exposed flesh. The motorist could do little but hold the creature's mouth at bay so that it couldn't get at his throat. But he knew his strength was about to give out. Luckily, a truck rolled by just in the nick of time. Oh, a truck? A van? Oh, what the fuck is that shit about? Now, illuminated by the truck's headlights, Busby could see that his attacker was a cat-like animal, shiny black in color. The truck seemed to frighten the creature, and it loped off across the road and disappeared. The truck driver was also able to get a glimpse of the animal as it made its getaway and later described it as a quote unquote big cat. Busby was, by some miracle, still strong enough to crawl back to his car, which now started without difficulty, and he drove straight to Olive Branch. He was subsequently treated at a local hospital in his hometown of Cairo and suffered from dizziness and walking difficulties for days. To all appearances, Busby was attacked by a huge black panther. That's one likely explanation, parentheses, or perhaps not so likely, as we'll soon see, end parentheses, for what happened to Mike Busby that April night. But there's one important hitch to this theory. There aren't any Black Panthers in Illinois, even mountain lions, which aren't black anyway, have been extinct in that part of the country since 1850. Busby also noted that the creature, go italics here, walked on its hind feet. No, and end italics. Cat does that! Exclamation point. No cat does that. No cat does that. Busby's experience is not unique. The good people of nearby Alexander County, Illinois, have been seeing these mysterious Black Panthers for decades, even though the Illinois Department of Conservation has been denying the reports for years and once even issued a statement to the press that the Illinois Panther was nothing more than a fuck. What the fuck is this? Quote, black Persian cat, a Labrador retriever, or a black Angus calf that some person's over-imaginative brain has conjured into a Black Panther, end quote. Really? Okay. Yep. We don't think Mike Busby would agree with the department's explanation, nor would Paul G. Myers. Turning a page. This is going to be a long chapter. We're doing some reading. Paul G. Myers, a game warden in Macon County, who not only saw but shot at one of these mysterious creatures. Oh, mysterious animals. One day in October 1955, another witness who saw the beast described it as, quote, low slung, and jet black with gleaming eyes, end quote. Police in Joliet, Illinois, Q Blues Brothers, were able to get a glance at the panther in the summer of 1964. This was just 2 months after local authorities assured Illinois residents that the renegade panther was merely a large dog. with a particularly nasty disposition. Despite this, quote, official explanation, end quote, for the sightings, several patrolmen, how much do you trust those motherfuckers, saw the panther alongside a road 10 miles east of Joliet and radioed in a helicopter, cop job, to help them chase it. The creature, they maintained, was definitely a panther, but it got away. The Phantom Black Panther of Illinois acted in many respects like a ghost. It appeared out of nowhere and vanished back into thin air. No matter how many makeshift posses tried to seek it out, the beast always escaped its would be captors. Predators, captors, same thing. No one ever found its lair, its kill or prey, nor any definite physical evidence that the creature had any quote unquote real existence beyond the minds of the people who saw it, except for the fact that it could be a savage attacker. Was the Illinois Panther then an apparition, like the Birdmen of Texas and Cornwall, or a genuine biological animal? This isn't an easy question to answer. There was a time in America's past when the mountain lion, parentheses, whose scientific name is Felis concolor, but who is popularly called a cougar or puma, end parentheses, roamed freely throughout the North American continent. Well, when settlers came, they cleared out the forests, and many forms of wildlife became their victim. The early settlers hunted down the mountain lions with a particular vengeance in their erroneous belief that these cats were wiping out deer and other game, parentheses, which provided the settlers with food, and parentheses, and that it was a bloodthirsty creature that preyed on human beings, parentheses. We know now that both these beliefs are not true, and parentheses, not true, not true. The great cats were no match for the white men's guns, and by the middle of the 19th century had vanished from most of America's forests, mountains, and woodlands. The Rocky Mountain states, Georgia's famed Okefenokee swamp, and the Florida Everglades were some of the few places where the mountain lion seemed safe. Wildlife authorities today also believe that a small number may have survived in the remote mountain areas of extreme eastern Canada and the United States. Of course, the United States also plays host to other wildcats, such as the bobcat, parentheses, lynx rufus, end parentheses, and the lynx, parentheses, lynx candensis, in parentheses, which thrive in some areas of the Midwest. But these cats are much smaller than the mountain lion and are not likely to be confused with them. In short, most zoologists and conservationists agree that no panthers can possibly be living in Illinois. And black panthers are even more unlikely. Not that black panthers don't exist out in the wild, but most of these only live in most tropical areas where the jaguars, parentheses, Panthera onca, end parentheses, of South America, and leopards, parentheses, Panthera pardus, end parentheses, are sometimes born with black pelts. These blackened cats, though, are actually mutations, and there's hardly any evidence that America's homegrown mountain lions ever display black coloring. One such cat was supposedly killed several years ago, but its body was not saved. And despite some reports that a black species of the Florida panther does exist, No one has yet produced a live specimen, a carcass, or even a photograph of one from either North or South America. But let's say that, however unlikely, black mountains, black mountain lions do exist. They really don't act very much like the quote unquote thing which attacked Mike Busby. Mountain lions, contrary to popular belief, are basically harmless to human beings and will seldom attack anyone except under the most unusual circumstances. The late Bruce Wright, a naturalist who made a study of mountain lion attacks, once remarked that more people have been killed or injured by pet deer than wild panthers. And in his Living Mammals of the World book name, zoologist Ivan T. Sanderson described the mountain lions as the, quote, great coward of all the great or not so great cats, end quote. Oh, sad kitty. Sanderson went on to point out that, quote, despite voluminous fictional tales and innumerable accounts published as fact, the number of authenticated cases of deliberate attacks upon human beings by these animals is so paltry as to be almost non existent. And most of these are open to some doubt. End quote. Oh, we're gonna be reading for a while. We ain't even got the fucking kangaroos. In light of these facts, maybe we can sympathize with the Illinois Department of Conservation, which was so confused by these panther sightings. Perhaps they really were perfectly justified, at least from their point of view, in insisting that there are no panthers, parentheses, black or otherwise, and parentheses, in the Midwest, and that even if there were, they wouldn't be spending their time attacking people without provocation. No fucking shit. That's all fine. But what about all those people who have been seeing phantom African lions wandering about the Midwest and even attacking people now and then? That's what several Illinois residents claimed happened to them in during July of 1917. The first victim was Thomas Gullett, a butler who was tending his employer's garden near Monticello, when suddenly, he would later inform the authorities, an quote unquote African lion jumped at him out of nowhere and scratched him before running off. The police took the story seriously because other residents in the area had reported seeing a similar creature over the past several days. Parentheses, there actually seemed to have been two of them, a male and female. In parentheses, the day after the attack on July 15th, a 300-man posse scoured the area in hopes of catching the animal, but found nothing. Maybe they were just looking in the wrong place, since another witness saw the beast a quarter mile away from the scene of the original attack and also described it as a quote unquote African lioness. Hysteria mounted in the days that followed, and overeager hunters began shooting at dogs, car headlights, and not just about anything else that moved. Be careful going to Illinois, folks. Jesus. Uh, any anything else that moved. The local newspapers remained understandably skeptical of the of the reports and began poking fun at all the shenanigans. But an incident that occurred late on the evening of July 29th forced a stop to the laughing. On that evening, four reputable and very frightened citizens claimed that a lion had attacked their car while they were driving west of Decatur, Illinois. The creature had lunged at the vehicle, they claimed, struck it, and slid off onto the highway. Chester Osborne, who was driving at the time, had immediately headed back to Decatur, where he alerted the police to his sighting. In order to search for the lion, Osborne and another witness, Earl Hill, left their wives, who had also seen the animal, in town and returned to the scene of the incident, along with two officers. If the lawmen had been entertaining any doubts about the report, they quickly dismissed them when they saw the creature for themselves. It was glaring at them from the side of the road, but darted away within moments. The officers decided not to pursue the lion, but later, two carloads of officers, armed with high-powered rifles, Jesus, descended on the scene, but the beast was gone. The lion last appeared on the afternoon of July 31st, when a farmhand spotted a, quote, large yellow, long-haired beast. Well, who's that sound like? Standing near a gravel pit. An armed posse soon arrived on the spot and discovered that the creature had left its footprints on the ground. Strangely enough, these prints clearly showed claw marks. We say, quote unquote, strangely enough, because all cats, with the sole exception of the cheetah, Axonomus jabos, well, he's got a funny name, have retractable claws. Oh, I never knew that. Cheetahs don't have retractable claws. Careful. Therefore, since when not used for attacking, they retract into the paw, these prints should not have shown them. For some reason, the posse members did not seem to realize just how peculiar these tracks were. Yet we now know that this phenomenon is but one more element of the phantom cat mystery. For example, an employee of the Macon Seed Company of Decatur saw a large black quote unquote cougar during the early part of 1970. His boss, William Beatty, told veteran monster hunter Lorne Coleman that he himself had examined the tracks left by the beast, and sure enough, they had claw marks in them. He also noted that the cat had torn down his electric fence on two occasions without being electrocuted. That's quite an accomplishment! Exclamation point. I'm gonna have to take a break here. Like, I gotta count how many pages we got. This is a lot of reading. Oh no. Well, we might not make it to the kangaroos. This might be a multiple. Yeah, we're gonna make it that far. Intermission. So who thinks I'm the werecat, or who thinks Auntie Gull is the werecat? Which one's the werecat? Is it me? Is it Auntie Gull? Is Auntie Gull the werecat? She might be. Who's the werecat? Where were we? That's quite an accomplishment. Tearing down electric fences on multiple occasions without being electrocuted? Quite an accomplishment. Quite an accomplishment. We should point out, though, that many mystery cats have left perfectly normal tracks in their wake. Many local officials and newspapers have used this fact to argue that these tracks were really left, really just left by a dog, even when the witnesses clearly saw a cat. If all this sounds crazy enough already, and would you think if you saw a Black Panther and an African lion walking about together? Exclamation points, question marks. Believe it or not, such reports have been placed on record. One's we're getting close home here, babies. One such incident allegedly occurred near Richmond, Indiana, on August 7th, 1948. This was only 2 days after 7 members of a fishing party had told the sheriff's office that an African lion had rushed them at Elkhorn Falls, a little town just south of Richmond. For weeks prior, local farmers had been complaining that a giant cat, which made a quote strange caterwauling noise, end quote, had been slaughtering their livestock. And on the night of August 1st, two reliable witnesses, Clifford Fath and Charles Cornelius, a game warden and conservation officer, respectively. Oh, is that reliable? I mean, I'm gonna retract that. Respectively, observed the creature sitting in the middle of a road while they were driving between Quakertown and Roseburg. They had to swerve their car in order to avoid hitting it. They estimated that the beast weighed 350 pounds. 350 pounds? Well, yeah, big boy. Or a big girl, whatever. But the sighting to end all sightings, as mentioned above, came on the morning of the 7th. Two farm boys were walking to their barn at 5:30 and spotted two mystery beasts about 200 feet away from them. One, they said, quote, had the appearance of a lion, end quote, while the other, quote, had the appearance of a panther and was black, end quote. The older boy, 16-year-old Arthur Turner, who was carrying a gun at the time, fired at the beasts. They quickly fled. The next afternoon, other farmers in the county reported seeing the creatures together. Literally thousands of such incidents have been placed on record throughout the United States. Some of them come from places even more unlikely than Illinois or Indiana. On June 30th, 1931, for instance, one shocked witness told understandably disbelieving police officers that a lion had been strolling around her Long Island, New York backyard. Exclamation point. The police stopped chuckling when, during the following days, other people began reporting the quote unquote thing too. It's highly un it's highly likely that at least some of these reports can be explained normally. Some of the sightings are no doubt caused by people who really have seen large black dogs or conventional mountain lions. But all in all, that still leaves us with a lot of reports which are difficult to dismiss. One interested monster fan went so far as to describe these phantom panthers as the quote flying saucers of the animal world, end quote. And like flying saucer reports, some of these beasts can be very strange indeed. Oh, do we need another intermission? No, we'll keep going. One of the oddest showed up in Chippewa County, Michigan on November 21st, 1972. Walter Wegner, who was hunting along Munisquong Bay on the shores of majestic Lake Michigan, heard some sounds which he at first thought were being caused by two buck deer fighting. It was 7:30 in the morning. 3 hours later, he checked out the site and was startled to find the remains of a 200-pound buck. Its bones had been stripped clean. I seen that shit. I seen some bucks stripped clean. All that remained were the head and antlers, and there were teeth marks on the skeleton. Wagner remembered that he had seen panther tracks in the area several days before, so merely concluded that the deer had been killed by a panther. However, local wildlife officials couldn't agree with that conclusion. As Harold Hammond, a Michigan conservation officer, who soon became involved in the Wagner incident, told the Detroit News after investigating the report, quote, "There is no animal on the North American continent that can kill and eat a deer that large in such a short time. A pack of animals might be able to do it, but we found no tracks," end quote. I'm doing another intermission. Do it an intermission. We're doing it's a long chapter, folks. We this is for prosperity. We're just doing the lore. I'm just doing a wander around, teeth gnashing. I don't know if we're gonna make it to the kangaroos, which is sad. But we gotta cover the cats first. Pack of animals might be able to do that. We found no tracks. The news. also went on to point out that, quote, stories of a mystery killer cat or some other animal have circulated for almost 20 years. The mystery animal, has been sighted about 100 times since 1954 in the area. The last time in 1969, about 5 miles from Wagner's Chippewa County cabin. The weirdest case of all. Oh, you want to hear the weirdest case? Let's hear the weirdest case. Let's hear the weirdest case. The weirdest case of all, though, occurred in 1970 and was investigated by longtime longtime monster expert. You've heard his name before, Lauren Coleman, who is probably this country's leading authority on phantom cats. Oh, I bet that guy's fucking long fucking dead. That guy, no, leading authority on phantom cats. That guy ain't alive. Jesus. The incident was witnessed by the late A.V. Ham, head of the Decatur, Illinois Fire Department, while he was driving in Pana, Illinois, along with his wife and two other couples. The fuck were they doing? The creature that appeared alongside the roadway that day was tannish gray, the very color of a mountain lion. What made the episode so astonishing was that the animal seemed to materialize out of nowhere. One moment it wasn't there, the next it was. Ham told Coleman that, quote, it just fell out of the sky. Not that Ham, being a sensible man, automatically believed what his eyes were telling him. He tried to persuade himself that the animal had suddenly leaped out of a clump of bushes at the side of the road and only appeared to materialize out of thin air. But he couldn't understand why. We're going all italics here. Why? Everybody in the car couldn't see the creature, even though it should have been visible to all of them! Exclamation point. Hallucination? Question mark. Maybe. But some of the others in the car did see it. We hardly need mention that ghosts and UFOs will sometimes also appear to groups of people. Sigh. Roll eyes. Also appear to groups of people, though on occasion only selected members of the crowd will see it. And we got an asterisk. We got a footnote here. We got a footnote asterisk. For more information on this point, refer to the Haunted House Handbook by D. Scott Rogo, also published by Temple Books. Don't do that. That's some fucking bullshit, probably. The United States, however, is not the only place in the world where these phantom cats have been seen over and over again. So perhaps it's time to leave our shores and pick up the phantom cat story elsewhere. Amazingly enough, a large number of similar reports have come out of Great Britain, where mountain lions have never lived, and where the leopard, its last resident great cat, has been extinct for many centuries. Or so they say! Exclamation point. We gotta count how many pages we got. This is a lot of reading. We might have to come back. I'll try. I'll just do a short intermission here. I mean, we could maybe do it. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. We'll go a little bit longer, but we do a little break right now. Little bit of break, a little bit of break, and then maybe we'll at least get through the. We're not going to get through the mystery kangaroos. It's ridiculous. this isn't really a live per se. This is more like a reading of like a rare book because nobody has this book or like it's pretty rare. So, and this is the only place that this stupid bullshit exists. So we, we read it for posterity. Oh, what were we talking about? Great Britain, where mountain lions have never lived and where the leopard, its last resident great cat, has been extinct for many centuries, or so they say. During July and August of 1976, the people of Nottingham, that sounds familiar, a large town in the central part of the country, were saying something quite different. It all began shortly after 6 a.m. on July 29th, when two milkmen encountered something which, to put it mildly, they hadn't expected. They hadn't exactly expected. Quote, we both saw together what certainly to us was a lion. One of the witnesses told a reporter from the Nottingham Evening Post, quote, its head was down and its long tail had a bushy end. It was walking slowly away from us. End quote. The two men immediately notified police. Fucking people, don't fucking notify the police of fucking shit because they ain't gonna do shit. Don't. Just fucking losers. Notified police about the potentially dangerous animal, and the local authorities searched throughout the day and into the evening for the beast. Dogs and a helicopter were brought into the search as well, but without success. Yeah, no fucking shit. Are they fucking good at searching for things? They're not. They're not good at searching for things. They're fucking losers. They're fucking losers. They can't fucking search for a goddamn thing. It is interesting to note that the night before, many local residents had reported that their pets had behaved oddly. Dot dot dot. As though they were afraid of something mysterious and unknown. Okay. A farmer had also found strange paw prints on his property. During the following week, fewer than 65 fewer than 65 persons saw the creature. That's a bit of a range right there. We need to be more specific what we're talking. Fewer than 65 could be like one. But the police, frustrated by their inability to catch or kill the cat, shake my fucking head, man. Yeah, no shit. Inability, losers. Finally announced that the quote unquote lion either did not exist or was either just a large dog or get this, a paper bag. A paper bag? No, no, this sounds like some Delphi cop shit. You know, it's a paper bag. Rook Adams a paper bag. He was a paper bag. It was a paper bag that did this shit. Yeah, right. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking morons. A paper bag? The fuck is that? A paper bag? A paper bag. Really? And if you believe that all these witnesses were seeing paper bags blowing about in the wind are lying in the street, lying, you'll probably believe anything. Quote, a paper bag with a lion's tail which walks around fields imitating our feline friends with that would be a marvel in its own right, exclamation point, end quote. No fucking shit, observed one local resident when he heard the police explanation. When you hear the police explanation, the fuck is wrong with these cops through the ages? Like, we might, this is some dumb fucking shit. This is some dumb fucking shit. These fucking cops with their stupid fucking explanations. These stupid fucking explanations. We might have to end right here because these are some dumb fucking cops with some stupid fucking explanations.
Yeah.